Protect your DNA. BioPQQ can promote formation of new mitochondria. Infowarsstore.com.
Donald Trump seems to have no shortage of supporters, and this one's coming all the way from the UK. John Acquaviva joins us via Skype. Thank you for joining us today, John.
Thank you for having me.
All right, now before we get into some other topics, let's start off with this Trump video that you made. Of course, Trump is the hot topic here in the U.S. right now. So can you tell us about the video and what prompted you to make it in the first place?
And pretty much the reason I made it was because I saw that one of the main things that was being used to kind of attack Trump, and still is the fact that supposedly he's been changing his opinions for the past year and a half. And I just wanted to show in reality how consistent he's been with the actual core principles and ideas, which is what the American people care about. And I just thought, what better way to do it than taking advantage of the fact that he, obviously being a public figure for pretty much all of his life, he's done countless interviews and he shared these opinions live TV before. So why not make a compilation? So I made the compilation with a guy called Chris Hermsey. We both managed to find these different clips, put them together, and yeah, it's been really well received. And obviously with the push that you guys gave it when you uploaded it to your website, it's gone pretty much viral now.
And how long did it take you to compile? There's a lot of clips in there, so how long did it take you to get all those and put them in a clip?
It took about, I'd say, a week and a half. Yeah, it wasn't that long, but yeah, I think it was worth it at the end. I mean, people seemed to love it, and it was something that needed to be done. So no complaints on my part. It was time well invested. All
right. Now, you're living over there in the UK now. Is there a general consensus that you can see regarding Donald Trump? Are people for him, against him, indifferent?
The thing with what's going on in the UK is that people aren't really interested in their own politics, let alone what's going on in America. That's what I see, at least. I mean, when you get the population as a whole, especially millennials in England, they're not really interested in politics at all. Mm-hmm. So what they will do is they'll just take whatever headline their favorite newspaper or magazine puts out, and they'll just roll with whatever it says, whether it's in favor or against. But if you speak to them about his policies and his ideas, they won't have a clue about it. So it's pretty much just whatever they want to follow.
That's pretty much the way it is here. So you're in good company. But also, just quickly, you touched on it there, but any thoughts on Brexit? Do you guys, or you personally, do you feel one way or the other?
Well, obviously, I wanna leave. I think that's the only way that we can take back control of the country and stop it from turning into something like Sweden, for example. It's something that has to happen. And if it doesn't happen, which I'm pretty confident it will, if it doesn't happen, it will be probably the biggest mistake that the British people have ever done in this generation. And yeah, I mean, in terms of what I feel is going on, obviously with what happened with the murder of Joe Cox, they just completely used that. The Remain side used it for their own political gain. They've been shamelessly plastering it all over the media, trying to win sympathy points. And I don't think it's worked. I think British people are more intelligent than that, and they're able to see past that shamefulness and just be able to understand that voting to leave is the best thing that we can do.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, you live in the UK now, but you're originally from Venezuela, correct?
Yep, born and raised.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about that, because I run into a lot of Bernie Sanders supporters here. I'm not sure how familiar you are with him, but people basically pushing for a strong sense of socialism. With Venezuela and what you came from, well, let's backtrack a little bit. With Venezuela, do you like the way Venezuela is right now?
To put it mildly, Venezuela is currently hell on earth. Venezuela is the country that has everything in terms of potential, everything. It has some of the most amazing landscapes and sceneries that you could ever imagine. It has endless natural resources, and it has completely been destroyed due to socialist policies. It has been taken into being currently the country with the lowest standard of life in the world. You have people hunting down pigeons and dogs on the street to feed their family. You have people desecrating the tombs of people who've been dead for 100 years just to be able to see if they can find some jewelry to steal to then sell and be able to afford some food. You have people killing each other in food lines just to be able to fight over the last bag of flour or the last pot of milk. It is a complete catastrophe, and it goes to show what socialism ends up being. When you leave socialism long enough in a country, it will always end up like Venezuela.
That's very good. I'm glad you said that, because there are a lot of people here who use Venezuela as somewhat of an example. They say we should have socialism like Venezuela. I'm like, well, it's not. People are killing dogs in the street, as you say, just to feed their families. It's not exactly an ideal situation as you describe it there.
Exactly. And here, for example, and something that really bothers me, which is one of the reasons I like Infowars, I like what you guys do so much, is because you constantly make content and videos and articles about what's going on in Venezuela, something that hardly none of the mainstream media, especially here in England, do. I have seen a handful of articles and news bits related to Venezuela in the 4 years that I've been living in England. It is a disgrace. And the reason is because in England, they're trying to push the same kind of socialist agenda that took Venezuela from being a paradise on earth to being hell on earth. You got Jeremy Corbyn saying a couple of years ago that Venezuela is what England should aspire to be. So obviously they're not going to show how it really is. So.
Yes. Now, here in my bio, it says that you were put on a cyber terrorism watch list. Is that correct?
Yeah, that was in 2014. We had the longest going riots. It lasted almost 3 months. Every day, thousands and thousands of people all over the streets and all over the country in Venezuela, just protesting, trying to get rid of the government. And what happened was that during that time, the government had probably one of the biggest tackle down on critics against the government. So what happened was that people who were posting out messages on Twitter, like I was doing, which was pretty much I was spreading information about what was going on, because during those 3 months, there was hardly no information, no news. I had my mum and my dad living in Venezuela at that time. They were calling me, being in England, to ask me what was going on, because there was no way that they could find out. I knew because I had all my contacts on social media that let me know what was going on. But besides that, the media was completely turning a blind eye to the fact that Venezuela was going through the biggest protest in its history. So what happened was, because of me spreading this information, I got put in this cyber terrorism list, out of which I think it was 8 or 9 people ended up getting put in jail. These are all people who got put in jail just for sending out tweets against the government. And most of them are still in jail to this day. So it just goes to show the state.
How long have they been in jail? You said that was a while ago, right?
Yeah, it's been over 2 years now.
Oh, 2 years. Wow, just for sending out tweets.
Yep.
Jeez, that is absolutely ridiculous. And we got about 2 minutes left here. I also want to talk to you about the mass immigration. A lot of people going into Europe, the European area over there. And just your personal opinion, we see things on the news, good, bad, and different. Just your personal opinion, do you think that the mass migrant immigration is something good for Europe?
I mean, the people who try to make the point that mass uncontrolled immigration, especially from countries that have cultures that are completely against our values and our freedoms that we have in the West, isn't somehow good, or is to be invited, or is to be promoted, is an absolute disgrace. The fact that people can't understand that when we have so many issues in England that we can't even take care of for our own people in England, such as the housing issues, such as the NHS crisis, when you have all of those issues that are affecting British-born people paying taxes in England, and then you just want to add more to that equation by bringing in more people with no kind of control, with no kind of skills to be able to obtain jobs, to be able to provide some value back into the country, just let them all in. It is a complete disgrace.
Yeah, I hear that, because, nobody wants to be seen as, discriminating. But, here in the United States of America, we have an epidemic of homelessness, veterans not getting treatment, and on and on and on. Like you said, job situations as well. And I'm like, well, can we help the people here first? It's nothing against the people in other countries. And yes, we understand that in various countries around the world, the U.S. has had a hand in making those situations worse, whether it's, Pakistan or some of those Middle Eastern countries. But you have to take care of your own people first. John Acquaviva, very quick, do you have a website or something people can use to contact you?
The easiest way is just on my social media. On Twitter, you can find me at IAM2, numerical 2, skilled. Don't judge me on that username. I created it about 5 years ago. And on Facebook, just put in John Patrick Acquaviva and you'll find me there.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, John.
Thank you for having me.
Joe Biggs here with Infowars.com with an extremely important message. You're probably asking yourself right now, what's the most important phrase in America right now? Well, it happens to be Hillary for prison. Get your Hillary for prison t-shirt today at the Infowars store for $9.95. That's half of what it used to be at $19.95. Why do you want to get this? Why should you buy this for you and your friends and family? Because number one, it's a great conversation starter. And number two, hell, you get to trigger a whole lot of crazy liberal commie bastards. And that's what I like to do. And maybe you're just at work right now and it's Casual Shirt Friday and one of your hipster buddies walks in with a Hillary Clinton shirt saying I'm with her. Negative. This is what you're gonna do. You're gonna stand up and go, ah, Hillary for prison! Benghazi!
What difference at this point does it make?
Go to InfoWarsStore.com and get your Hillary for prison shirt today for $9.95 and trigger more assholes like him.
Come on, Hillary. Just a little sip. Open up. Come on, take it. Take it.